So the or, understanding the or, it's really sometimes easier than the and logic is, because there's only really one time that it's ever false. So conditional or operator is the or decision. You take action if one of two conditions is true. It requires at least one decision evaluated to be true. If answers to both halves of the question are false, then the entire expression is false. So remember, on the and, both expressions have to be true to get a true statement. Otherwise, everything's false. So it's the opposite with the or. The only way that you get a false is if both sides of the equation are false. You can choose to ask either question first, but the first question that is more likely to be true may result in faster program execution. So there again, it's the opposite of the and. If you remember with the and, we wanted to put first the one that was most likely to be false, because it would make you automatically drop out. So in the or logic, we want the one that is most likely to be true first, because if you find one true, then it doesn't have to test the next. Okay? All right. So here is the first problem example in the book. Is flowchart and pseudocode for a cell phone billing program. Customer must meet one or both of two criteria to be billed a premium. So in this one, suppose you want to add $20 to the bills of cell phone customers who either make more than 100 calls. Did we do this one? Or use more than 500 minutes?
We did this one with and.
With and, okay. So figure 3-11 shows the altered module of the billing program that accomplishes this objective. Oh, that's right. It's because this one is altered. So in the pseudocode, customer bill equals basic service. So we know everybody will be charged the basic service. But then we want to know if the number of calls made is greater than calls, and you notice that's a named constant, right? Calls is in all caps. If it's greater than calls, which they're saying calls is what, 20, let's see, calls is 100. So if it's greater than 100, then customer bill equals customer bill plus premium, which is the $20 they've established earlier. Then if it's not, sorry, I bet one more time. I always do 3. Okay. Call minutes. If calls made are not greater than 100, then it's also going to test if call minutes are greater than minutes, which is 500. So in this case, if either one are true, it's going to add to the customer bill premium. And if you remember how we did it with the and one is over on page 79, and you can see that there was not a branch on the no side, or I'm sorry, there was not anything to do on the no side of that if else. Or it's not an if else, it's just an if. So there was nothing to do there. Is that the right one? Or that's the one that doesn't have the and? Where did I thought that we did that one on the and. Here it is. On page 82 is the one. Is that the one with the and? That one doesn't look like it's the and either. It says it is. Then, but I don't see an and in it. Huh, where's that one? I know we did do the one with the and, but I don't see it. If customer was then, if customer was. That one doesn't have, that has an if and then a nested if. Nesting and decisions. But I don't see it. Oh well. I was sure we did that one. All right, so anyway, we'll go on. I'll find it one of these times. Okay, so this one is the difference is there is nothing, if it's an and, it won't have the branch. They have to both be true. Writing or decisions for efficiency. Okay, this is an example. 2 ways to assign a premium to bills of customers who meet one of 2 criteria. Which program is more efficient depends on the relative likelihood of each condition. So in one of them, what they've done is they put, if calls made are greater than calls yes, then they've gone down this way and drop out. If it's no, then they test call minutes. So they're assuming that most often it's going to be this is yes. But if it's minutes that they think it's going to be most often, then they put it at the top. Okay. So it just really depends on what you think the most often it's going to be. Okay, so here's the truth table for the OR operator. Conditional OR operator. So we did one for the AND operator. 2 or more questions in a single comparison. 1 condition must be met for resulting action to occur. Short circuiting, which we had that in the AND called short circuit evaluation, is if the first question is true, logic does not proceed to the second question. The truth table for the OR operator is right here, which says, if you look at it, the only way, I must have passed it. The only way to get a false, I am having all kinds of trouble in my book finding where, there it is. Okay, so the OR operator, it's on page 88, says, if X is true, Y is true, then X or Y is true. But if X is true and Y is false, then X or Y is still true. If X is false, Y is true, then X or Y is still true. So the only resulting false is if they are both false. That's what's called a truth table. But you remember it was the opposite with the AND. The only way for it to be true, and all the 3 bottom ones were false, was if X and Y were both true. Okay, here the computer executes both flowcharts in the same manner. The computer makes decisions one at a time in the order they are given. And in an OR expression, if the first test is true, then the entire expression is true and the second test is not performed. Okay, so common errors in an OR is when using OR operators, if you are creating unstructured logic, the true and false decision paths must rejoin before proceeding to the next steps in the program. And sometimes that's what it's showing you there on page 90. Don't do it. This flowchart is not structured. This decision is exited early. You see, they did, if calls made are greater than calls, yes, then go here. But you notice in this call minutes are greater than minutes, they've drawn a line across the yes to connect over to that rectangle. And you don't ever do that. You want it to only connect at the bottom. And that's what on page 90 it tells you when you create a structured selection, the logic must diverge in one of 2 directions that represent the true and false results of the selection controlling question. Then the diverging paths must join together before proceeding to the next steps in the program. In other words, a structured selection must have 1 entry point at the decision and 1 exit point when the 2 logical paths rejoin. That's what makes it structured. Because it used to, we had, back when I started programming early on, we had what we called spaghetti code because you could never tell where the program, it could end here, it could end halfway down the page, it could end up there. Every time you enter an if or an or, it has to have 1 entry point and they both have to end at the same place together to be structured. It's hard to follow the logic if you don't. And the same way with an AND, when OR logic is needed, using AND logic when OR logic is needed is another error. A casual request for A and B logically means a request for A or B. Need to clarify what is really being requested. And that's there again, whenever you're working with a client and they tell you they run a program that where A and B are true, you need to make sure they understand what they're saying when they say A and B, okay? Need to clarify what is really being requested, using an or logic when an and logic is needed. So here are some more common errors. And this is the one that we just saw in the book, the unstructured. Another one is example of using and logic when the or logic is needed, and that's on in your book on page 91. It says it is impossible for a patron to be both under 13 and over 64. So that should have been or logic, right? Okay. So here's some more. Correct logic that gives a discount for young and old. Oh, no, that's the one that we just looked at. That's the correct way to do it with the or statement. Patron age is less than minimum age, or patron age is greater than maximum age. And you'll notice that ever since chapter 2, we haven't put those values. We have used constants in our declarations. You notice in this one, significant declarations. So they've declared minimum age to be 13, maximum age to be 64, full price to be 8.50, discounted price equals 6. So there are no actual values used down in the logic. So be sure you're catching that so that on the next assignment and test, there will be, I will take off if you're not using constants, because that's an important habit to get into. Even though this is a small program, it's not a big deal, but what the best habit to get into is declaring all your variables at the top, okay? And don't use the exact values. Like on our test program, some did tuition times $79. Well, what the preferred way was to set that value up as a named constant, okay? All right, so any questions about that? Ready? Okay. All right, avoiding common errors in an or selection. Correct logic that charges the full price for patrons whose age is over 12 and under 65. So this is the one that's the correct logic if patron age is greater than minimum age and patron age is less than maximum age. So now we could have done that with a nested if, like we were in some earlier problems, but it's less coding if you use an and, right? Okay. Now, sometimes nested if you want to do because it's dependent upon the first one if you go to the second one. But most of the time, the and will always work instead of the nested if, and it's a lot easier. Okay, this is the one that I don't give you any problems in, but when you get into a programming language class, you may have to do something like this, is range checking. It's making selections within ranges, so instead of doing, well, that's really what we were doing on one of those others. But here it says range of values is a series of contiguous values that fall between specified limits. Like when we were saying less than or equal to 2 and greater than or equal to 39, that's really a range. Range check compares variables to series of values between limits. You can use range check to make comparisons using either lowest or highest value in each value range. For example, customer discount based on the number of items ordered. So what they want to do, they want to find out what the discount rate is, and it will be determined by how many items are ordered, and they have to know if it's between 11 and 24. So that's a range of numbers that they're trying to determine if it's between. So here's how we would set that up. There it is. Flowchart and pseudocode of logic that selects the correct discount based on items ordered. Now, with a range check, you notice it's a string of if-elses. And if you're doing pseudocode, remember I was telling you that you may have a string of indifs all together. But if you don't put all those, and in JavaScript it would be curly braces at the end of those indifs, you would have 3 indifs. It would not logically work, because you've got to have this indif goes with this if else, this indif goes with this if else, and this one goes with this one. Okay, so you've got to have all of them, and even if you lined them all up over here, it would still work, but it is easier to see. It's clearer if you do if else indif. And I think somebody in here, when I was showing them, it made more sense the way I code. When I code JavaScript, like if it says if items ordered, which would be items ordered is less than or equal to, I guess the first one is range 1. And in JavaScript, sometimes they'll put the curly brace up here, which is really the beginning of the if. Well, when I code JavaScript, I always put my curly brace down here so that I can see what I'm coding, and then my indif lines up with it. You see it? Like if you put it up here, sometimes you can't see if there's a match. Follow what I'm saying? So it's correct. You can put it down here, and to me it makes a little more sense. But when you see the JavaScript, sometimes other people, even in JavaScript books and stuff, it shows it the other way. But it always makes more sense at a glance of an eye. I can tell if I've got a closing one for every opening one that way. Okay? All right, so avoiding common errors when using range checks. There are 2 common errors when using range checks: using logic that contains an unreachable path, or asking questions when the answers are irrelevant. The program may work correctly, but it is inefficient and confusing. Examples of both types of errors follow. Okay, so one of them that it shows, don't do it, this is a dead path. In other words, you've already said items, if items ordered are less than or equal to range 3, then it would be discount 3. But if it's not fallen in one of the above, it will automatically fall in discount 4. You don't have to ask another question, right? You see why that's a dead path? So it's going to go there. You can just say else customer discount equals discount 4, right? And you don't have to ask another if. Does everybody see that? It's not going to do anything if you put it in there. It won't create an error, but it's unnecessary. Then on on the next one says inefficient range selection that includes 2 unnecessary questions, wasting computer time and asking a question that has already been answered. So that's what this one is on page 100. Says, don't do it. There is no point to ask the first part of these questions. Item ordered is greater than range 1, and items ordered is less than or equal to range 2. Why is that unnecessary? Well, look what the first one says. If items ordered is less than
or equal to range 1.
Yeah, so it has to be greater, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to test it. Good. So you don't you don't have to do that. And in the second one, it was the same way. If items ordered are less than or equal to range 2, well then that means down here, if it didn't fall in that, then they've got to be greater than range 2 if it gets to that one, right? Okay, understanding precedence when combining and or operators. So see, there's where I was telling you all the structures that we learned from the beginning. So, sequence, selection, and then we'll learn repetition, which is loops. But those are the 3 structures that you have to know to be able to code any problem, no matter how complicated it is. But you can combine them all different ways. So this next one, we can combine if then else's, nested, nest them. We can nest however many times we want to. Then there is and or. You can put ands and ors together and make other types of logic being solved. Sometimes you need to do that. So this is an example. Most languages allow multiple and or operator combinations in an expression. When and or are in the same statement, the and operator takes precedence. So what does that mean? When it says and operator takes precedence, what does that mean? Hot. It goes first. Very good. It goes first, just like the precedence in the order of operations. Which one goes first? Multiplication or division, add or subtract. That's the same type thing. But how can we confirm when we are writing our pseudocode that the correct thing is going to be done first? What can we do?
Nested ifs.
Well, yeah, nested ifs. But when we code it, if we have, say we want a particular or operation evaluated first, what can I do? I put parentheses. I can, because they take precedence over any order. But if there are no parentheses, then it will follow the order of operations. And it's saying that an and will be evaluated first, and then an or operator. When and or are in the same statement, and takes precedence to control which operations are evaluated first. That's right up there. Use parentheses to override default order of operations. Use parentheses for clarity. Maybe you don't have something that you want to override, but if you have a lot of ands and ors and a lot of operations going on, just to make sure that you understand that you've coded it properly, if you put parentheses around the things that you want done first, then it's sometimes a little clearer when you go back and look at it. Use nested if statements instead of ands and ors, and that's what you were saying, because sometimes that may be clearer. Example of using a nested if follows. Okay, so in this problem, in the ranges, let me see, where's that? That's not in the range. Okay, string rating number age. Okay, so in this one, what they've done, nested decisions that determine the movie patron discount. So instead of using the range, no, that wasn't range problem. Where was that one? That one was using the and. So instead of using the and, they've used a nested if here. If rating is equal to G, then if age is less than or equal to 12, then output discount applies. Else, if age is greater than or equal to 65, then output discount applies. So this top if is the one that it's going to fall in this category anyway as a G, but we need to determine if they have the less than or equal to 12 discount or the greater than or equal to 65. So instead of doing the and, they did it with a nested if. Okay, anybody have any questions over that so far? Okay, so now we're going to do some of the problems where what we're going to go over today is on number 4. The problem number 4 on page 111, I assign you to do part A and C. So we're going to look at, and I also give you what we're doing here in class. Find it. Let's see. Okay, this is, find it here. Oh, that was the one I wanted to open. Oh. No. Okay, what I gave to you was the problem up here, and then the flow chart and the pseudocode. So we're going to look at it and see where they came up with that answer. I want to do that first, but it's going to show it all. Okay, so the problem says the Daily Gazette accepts classified ads in several categories. For most ads, the newspaper charges 10 cents per word for the first 50 words and 8 cents per word for every word after that. Design a flowchart or pseudocode for a program that accepts data about an ad. They accept that, so it's going to ask for input, customer name, ad category, for example, apartment for rent, and number of words. Display all the input data and the price for the ad. Okay, so this is newspaper program, the main. Let me see if I can get this to show up a little bigger. Still kind of blurry, but anyway. All right, so in this one, the first thing, if you float a chart, is that we're going to have string, and remember, you don't have to call them strings because what are they in JavaScript?
Var.
Var. Okay, so we don't have to call them strings. It's up to you. String customer name, string ad category, num number of words, num price. So all of these are going to be input, right? And so these are the variables that are called what? Constants. So this is the values that they gave us in the problem. Low rate equals 8 cents, high rate equals 10 cents, and word limit equals 50. And be sure that you never put dollar signs here. We'll learn a little later on, or some people have already.
Like confuse JavaScript or something?
What, with the dollar sign?
Yeah.
It actually won't even run if you put a dollar sign in there. Because somebody did that, a couple people did that. So the dollar sign has to be put in the output in the document.write line in quotes if you want to put a dollar sign in. But you don't put a dollar sign here. Okay, so here's our input box. Input customer name, ad category, and num words. Now in JavaScript that has to be 3 what? What kind of statements? 3 prompts. 3 prompts. Okay? So in pseudocode or flowcharting, you can put it in one statement, all your input. But when you try to go to JavaScript, remember, you can't just say input, customer name, ad category number 1. You can't even say prompt one of them. You have to have 3 prompts. What? Yes, 3 prompts. Okay, so here's our decision. So our decision box tells us right away it's an if, right? Number of words, if number of words are less than or equal to word limit. If we branch, if it's true, then price equals number of words times high rate. And then both branches connect because they have the same output. If this is not true, if it's number of words is not less than or equal to word limit, then price equals high rate times word limit plus low rate times number of words minus word limit. Okay? So that's pretty straightforward. That one we should be able to do. There's your pseudocode for it. I didn't do we can do the JavaScript on this one, or we can do that on any of them that you have trouble with the JavaScript. We can do on Thursday. It's Tuesday, right? Yep. First part of the week. Okay, so anybody have any questions about how that one was coded? If else, and if. Pretty straightforward, right? Okay, so the next part A, says to modify the newspaper ad program to provide a 10% discount for ads over 300 words. So in this one, what kind of logic did I tell you? I think I told you what to use. Is it and logic's in part C. So this one is simply probably a nested if, right? Let me see. Yeah, because the first one is just an if then else. So the next one is going to be a nested if, because all you're going to do is you're going to take this pseudocode. You don't have to write it all over again. Take this pseudocode and modify the newspaper ad program to provide a 10% discount for ads over 300 words. So up here it was 10 cents per word. So you've got to calculate all that. You've still got to do all of this, but you also need to find out if it's over 300 words. So where would I do that? Wouldn't that be a nested if somewhere? Okay, so that problem you're just going to modify into a nested if. So you can literally just copy this pseudocode and make the change. Okay, use the same variables and everything. Then C is the same way, only C is going to be let me make sure I figure that right. C is, I think I told you, and logic. So you're going to use and logic for C. Says to modify the newspaper ad program so the ad rates are the same as in the original program unless the ad is in the found category, in which case it is free, or in the business services category, in which case the charge is 20 cents per word. Okay, so somebody has to type in found, right? And if it's found and, let's see, modify the newspaper so the ad rates are the same as in the original. So, or in which, oh, I'm sorry, this is not and, is it? It should be or. Charge is 20 cents per word. I said and logic. Let me look at that again. If I'd already opened that. I want to make sure that I didn't lead you astray on that, because I sure thought it was and logic. Oh. Three, four. At least want to make sure. That's 4. A was nested. B. Maybe I was thinking of B, which I didn't assign that one to you. B said, modify the newspaper ad program to display the details of the ad only if it is in the used cars category. So that one simply added another if. They had an if, else, if, and then if ad category equals used cars. So the C one, modify the newspaper ad program so the ad rates, okay, so the ad rates are the same as in the original program unless the ad is in the found category. So it could be like a nested if, right? Because you would say, okay, if ad category equals found, then it's free, so there would be no charge for the ad. Or if it's in the business services category, so then I could nest it underneath and say if business services category, in which case charges is 20 cents per word. So I'd have to calculate it different. Let's see. Come on. If. Yeah, that's what they did, a nested if. I don't know why I thought it was an and. It would do C as a nested if. Oh no, there's an and. If, add category. You can do it either way. I'll count either way, right? But you can do it with and logic or with. Is there another way that it's free? They do that. Well, I'm giving you the answer, but here it is. You still have to. I looked at that this morning and it did not. Okay, let me go here again. Add they did it at the top. Add category is not equal to found and add category is not equal to business services. Then it would do the way that it was. Add category equal to business services. So it did change the whole thing in this one. Because right underneath the very first if is they're saying if it's found, oh gosh, if it's found, and if it's not equal to business services, then it would go by the normal calculation. So that's why they did that. That's why they used an and, was because at the very top, oops, let's see, because it says if it's one of those two. So the reason we did an and at the very top, or the reason they did, was if at the very beginning, if you find out that it's one of those two, then it's going to be calculated differently, right?
Yeah.
So that's why if you say if it's found, or if it's and if it's business, then we want to go and do something different. So if it's not equal to found and it's not equal to business, they did a not equals. I really don't like doing that. That's a double negative, but that's what they did. They said if it's not equal to found and it's not equal to business services, then they go down and do some ifs. Okay? So there's several ways you can do that one. Just pick one that makes most sense to you. Okay, then on problem, I didn't assign number 5. Number 5 is a long list of nested ifs. Is what it is when you find it. Let me go over it. Let me look at it. There's also one. Go down to number 5. What's that one? See if we can do number 5. Okay, number 5. There it is. Come on. Number 5. Think. Find it here in a minute. 5. Okay, so the Parasol Insurance Group. The Parasol Insurance Group sells a variety of insurance policy types. Design a flowchart or pseudocode for a program that accepts a client's name and Y or N string answers to questions about whether the client wants each of the following policy types. Okay, so we don't even know what their price is until we know what type it is, right? Their cost for their insurance. Add a question. If the client wants automobile insurance, add a question to determine the number of vehicles covered. Display all the details as well as the client's annual bill. Okay, so first of all, what would be our variables that we need for this one? First of all, you accept the client's, for a program that accepts a client's name, right? Because you're going to print out their name. And then we want a variable that.
We want for each of the policies?
Right, a variable for, now would we just, and then we would have to have one that's Y or N, right? One that is, what we're going to input is a program accepts a client's name and Y or N string answers to questions about whether the client wants each of the following. Actually, we don't have a variable wire in. We would have what you said. We would have a homeowner's, a renter's, automobile, and then if it's automobile, we have to ask them underneath there
Mm-hmm.
whether it is how many cars they have, how many vehicles. Okay, so I'm going to do the pseudocode because I'm not good at drawing on the board. Okay, so if this is the insurance company, now if we were doing this, let's go ahead and put this one in JavaScript. Okay, so we've got the pseudocode here, the string client name, string home insurance, string renter's insurance, string auto insurance, number of vehicles equals 0. So they're going to start out initializing these variables to 0. Variable price equals 0, home rate equals 800, renter's rate equals 300, auto rate equals 1,000. So then we input the client name and then input home insurance. If you want do you want renter's insurance? Do you want automobile insurance? If home insurance equals Y, then price equals home rate, and end if. And then if renter's insurance equals Y, then price equals price plus renter's rate, end if. Here's the one that's a little bit more to it. If auto insurance equals Y, then output, enter the number of vehicles covered, input number of vehicles, price equals price plus number of vehicles plus auto rate, end if, output, and there's how you output it. Okay, so probably the easiest way is I'm going to go in, I'm going to copy this. Sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. Maybe I won't do that. Sometimes JavaScript's really finicky. And this actually should be, I'm going to open a different, okay, I'm going to change my Dreamweaver preferences to HTML5. Oh, it does say it is. Okay. Okay, so file, I'm going to say new, HTML, create it, but then I don't have my JavaScript stuff in there. So you don't want to have to do that. Copy that much. Okay. Oops. That did something weird. Take that off and put it right there. Okay, so here we've got our declarations. Let me see if it'll let me copy those. Well, we can just start with it. Var, how many, our first one is client name, right? I'm just going to call it name for short. Okay, and it doesn't need to be, oh, it needs to be equals. So then it knows it's a variable, I mean a string, right? Is there, what's the next one? Or what?
Home insurance for the prompt.
Okay, is a prompt. Okay, home insurance. And it's going to be a string also, right? Because it's supposed to be wire in.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll say, and var, what's the other kind of insurance? Which kind? Renters. Renters insurance equals, okay, var auto. Okay, what else do I need? Any other variables? Yeah, I have to have the constants, right?
Yeah, the homeowner's rate.
Okay, so var home rate equals, oops, no, I don't want that. What is it? The rate, homeowners is 800, right? And var, oops, var, typing, VAR, oh, Caps are on. FAR, and now caps. And what's the next one? Renter's rate?
Yeah.
Renters underscore rate. And what is renter's rate? 300. 300. We have bar. Oh, there we go again. Bar. And auto rate equals, what was it, 1,000? Okay, was there any other variables? Was that all in my pseudocode?
Oh, we need one for the number of cars.
I think it does have a number of vehicles, doesn't it? Var equals num vehicles. Vehicles. Did I spell it right? Huh. Number of vehicles equals, we'll start it out with 0, and we have to have either the total price, whatever you want to call it, right? Oops, I didn't make a vowel. Var price equals 0, semicolon. What other one? Was there any others? Auto rate, price, number of vehicle enters. Nope, that should be it. Okay. So next, I want to do what? What comes after my declarations?
The prompts.
The prompts. Okay, so prompt. The one that I want it to go in is name first, right? Name equals prompt. Please enter the client's name. Oh, yeah, comma. Please type here or something like that. Type. You don't have to put that in there. And if you do, it has to be in quotes. Oops. Come on. Where'd it go? I don't know if it did that right since I've got it so large. Boom, boom. Nope, probably not. Why is it not scrolling for me? Scrolls that way, but it's not wanting to scroll that way. Okay, I'm going to do it this way then. That should work. Type here. There. All right. Now, the next one, I have another prompt or not? Is that the only prompt?
No, the prompt is for the insurance.
Insurance. We have to ask each one, right? So we have to have a prompt for each one. Is that how we do it? Yes, Kalia.
Why do you put two different, like, enter the name here, but type here?
Oh, type it. Why do you put type here?
Like, why do you put two?
Two of.
Like, you put type here, but you also put quotations up there where you can type.
Oh, right here. This is what's going to actually show on the screen when my box comes up. And the reason I put type here, that will cause down there where you actually type in the name, it'll say type here. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? You don't have to do that, though. You can leave this totally blank right here, and then it will just, oh, it's not, it's telling me that's an error. Should be able to. I don't know why that said that was an error. Well, now it's saying it's an error anyway. What did I do there? No, why it wasn't giving me an error, now it is. Unless it's because I don't have anything after it. It's going blue there. Variable equals price. Name equals prompt. Please please enter the client's name. Huh. Does anybody see something wrong? Please enter the client's name. Because if I put comma 0, let me see what it does here. Doesn't like that either. All of a sudden, it didn't like it. So if I type the whole thing over, name equals enter name. I don't know. Didn't give me the error then. I don't know. Sometimes they'll get some little character in there that you can't see. And if you can't get the error to go, the reason I knew it was an error because in Dreamweaver it shows you there if there's even a typing error. Okay, so the next one would be like home insurance.
Yeah.
Home insurance equals prompt. Oh, it's giving me that error again. Prompt. Do you want insurance? Enter. Then you have to tell them enter Y or N. Should have done that down here so I could see it. A Y or N. Oops, nope, comma. Or I could just say Y or N here. Y or okay, so it's got an error again. When did it start with it? The whole thing. There, prompt. Please enter home insurance. And then I'm just going to say, comma, Y or I don't know why it's making me type stuff twice. It's crazy. I'm going to copy this one. Command C, V. Okay, and this one should be renters, right? Is the next one? Is that what we named it? Like renters. Let me go up here. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Please enter, and it didn't copy that part. Trying to do it where it will not give me an error. This one is renters. Okay, then, and now it's saying an error. Oh, I'm getting aggravated. Enter. Okay, equals, that's what I have to type it in. Prompt, please enter. We're not even going to see it run because I make so much errors here. Y or okay. the next one, maybe it'll let me copy it. And this one is auto, right? Auto insurance. And this is going to say, yeah, look what it did. It did it again. Home insurance and the renters. No, anything in quotes. Is that what you're talking about? Something in quotes? Yeah. Anything in quotes doesn't have. It doesn't care, but it's sure acting like it does. Please enter auto insurance, comma. Semicolon. Okay. So now we should have a simple if statement, right? Input, auto insurance. If home insurance, then the price is home rate. Okay, end if. All right, where do we go? So it would say if, give me an error already, if home rate underscore rate is equal to no home insurance, right? Thank you. If home insurance, oops, mine's all caps. If home insurance is equal to a Y, see, it's not even letting me do that. Open curly, but I'm going to put it down here. It doesn't like that if statement. Come on. If home insurance is equal to, oh, there it didn't. If home insurance is equal to a Y, then what I want to do is what? Price equals.
Oh, did we declare the price?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Price equals home rate, right? Semicolon, and then I can close my if. All right, so then the next one would be, it's almost time to go, Command C, Command V, and this one would be renters. Oh, nope. Renters insurance equals Y, then it would be renters rate. Okay, what do you not like about that, stupid thing? I don't know, it's not letting me copy and paste for some reason. It's not liking that when I do that. This one would be auto, and the main thing is when you get finished, oops, auto equals Y, then this one would be AUTO, oops, all caps, AUTO. Oh, now they're going away. Okay, so if it's auto insurance, then we have to do a nested if, right? Isn't that what it was? Let's see. If auto insurance equals Y, input number of vehicles. Oh, they did the prompt down here. Okay. Then we have to do another prompt, and it's auto insurance. So we would do another prompt. If auto insurance, so that's going to go right inside oops, we can't figure auto rate yet because we have to say then prompt, oops, number of vehicles, oh my goodness, num vehicles equals prompt number vehicles. And this one would be a 0. And then we would say price equals, do we have an auto rate plus, okay, what was our calculation exactly? Was price plus number of vehicles times auto rate. Oh, where did we figure price? Oh, why does it say price plus? Oh, it would be auto rate plus. Why are they saying that's wrong, isn't it? Price equals price plus, because we don't have a price yet. Does the problem say exactly display? Add a question to determine number it's covered display. So they're saying each vehicle cost. So it would actually be price equals number of vehicles times auto rate. Oops. Vehicles times auto underscore rate. That's what I'm saying it is. Okay, so then the output, it's not letting me get there for some reason. Okay, document dot write line. Oh, that's not going to be right. Document dot write line. Fine, and inside it would say, I'm just going to say name. Didn't we take in the name? I think we did. Name, comma, and then it would say space, price. We could put a $sign in there if we want to, but I'm trying to get done, so we won't do that. Okay. Oh, that says no, that it's not correct. What did I do?
I placed a quotes after the second price.
Oh, right. Oh, right here, no quotes. Still didn't do it. Oh, come on. Sometimes you have to say, instead of that, you have to say plus, but name. But it should be doing it anyway. Anybody get to work? 4. You got the other problem to work? Which one? Oh, number 4? Okay. You shared it? Okay. We're on Google. Let's see. Let's go up here. Come on. Oh, there. Done with that. Okay, yours. CIT 17. 13. Oops. Picture class. Wow. Let's see. Let me go up here. My drive. And yours is in here. Okay, what's your initial? Ben? Are you Ben?
No, Robert.
Robert. Oh, that's good. RM. Chapter 3. So is this
Next one down.
right here?
Yep.
Let's see if it probably won't let me double click it. I probably have to actually download it. Open with Google Drive, maybe.
From 4.
Okay, let's see if it'll open it. Probably will make me run it. Well, it's 5 after. I better unhook everything, guys. Okay, we ran out of time. But if you want to